Welcome back, South Africa. We're now crossing over to our international correspondent, David Kibuuka, who is in New York. Dave, what the hell is on your face?
I'm here at the UN where last week African leaders complained about the fact that after 67 years, Africa still has no permanent seats on the UN Security Council. The United Nations Security Council is the most powerful body of the UN because, as its name implies, this is the body that rules over world security.
So, Dave, what do you think Africa should do to get the seats?
I say, the UN, Loy.
What?
You heard me. We've been trying for 67 years. If the UN was a girl, then she has placed Africa firmly in the friend zone. Poor starving Africa thinks he's going to get some ass. But if you ask the UN, she'll say, Africa is just a friend, Choma. Africa is just a friend.
But what about global cooperation, Dave?
Most countries in the UN only cooperate when it suits them. Like a certain country who will remain unnamed, but whose name rhymes with America, bombs other countries when the resolutions don't suit them. Israel also does whatever it wants, and Iran is building a nuclear power station to keep peace. But Africa is always begging, Loy. We beg for food, we beg for money, and now we're even begging for status. We need to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery because none but ourselves can free our minds.
I feel uncomfortable with you quoting Bob Marley with that mustache on, Dave.
We still define ourselves according to what white folks think is good. Like if white folks say they want 3-course meals, then we as black people want 3-course meals. If they change their minds and say they want 4-course meals, then we as black people want 4-course meals. But the Japanese, Loy, are successful because they make their own rules. Like with sushi, they don't care about courses and they don't even cook the food. Do you know how much money that saves in electricity, Loy?
Dave, but I like 3-course meals.
Black people are so mentally colonized that we think it's normal to have 2 weddings. We have the so-called traditional wedding, and then we just randomly have a wedding from white people's cultures called a white wedding. I'd understand if either the bride or groom was white, but these are both black people having this wedding, Loy. And the black brides tend to look mad sweaty in that white dress because the color of the dress clashes too much with the skin tone. We need to realize that our own marriage ceremonies are good enough. But these days, if you only have a traditional wedding, people will look at you like you got married at cash converters.
Okay, Dave, then what do you suggest we do?
To be successful as a continent and even as a person, we need to set our own goals and be proud of our heritage. Like we make a big hoo-ha about so-called African restaurants like Moyo's, yet we're in Africa. Shouldn't it just be called a restaurant? Then we think that the Spur is normal, even though it was started by Red Indians.
Dave, you can't call people Red Indians. They're called Native American.
Thank you, Loy.
Dave, crazy guy, South Africa, crazy guy. Always speaks his mind.